So let's jump onto our mats. I'm going to focus a little bit today on some deeper stretches for runners because throughout this pandemic, I've gotten a lot of requests for yoga for running because all of our gyms are closed still. And so it's one of the only things that we can do if we don't have home gym equipment. So we're going to start lying down. We're going to get into the glutes, the hips, just kind of focus on the lower body, maybe a little bit of core stabilization and activation because that's important for our running form as well. But we're going to lie all the way down on our backs to start. You can just take a few breaths here. Settle into the space and onto your mat. And then focus on deepening your breath. Try to make your inhales and your exhales the same length. And then when you're ready, we're going to start to shuffle the feet up closer to the body and then bring the knees all the way in. Squeeze them into your chest. Roll around the ankles a bit. You can rock from side to side on the spine. And then we're just going to right away turn on the core. So take your arms out into a T. Your knees are still in your chest. And you're just going to drop the knees just slightly from side to side. So this is going to force your core to really turn on and engage. Just rocking back and forth. Let's go one more time each side. And then bring the knees back in. Bring your arms around them. Squeeze the knees. Let's bring the feet all the way down. Reach your fingertips down so you can touch your heels with your hands. And then take your elbows by your sides. Point your fingertips up towards the ceiling. So I call this robot arms, but make it feel like you're able to put a lot of pressure into your elbows and lift the chest up. So this first bridge that we're going to do is called thoracic bridge. So your hips stay on the ground and your chest is the only thing that comes up. It's a really subtle movement. We're doing a gentle back bend to start. So when you're ready on your next inhale, push through the elbows. The chest will come up. And take a breath here. Subtle, gentle movement. And on the exhale, bring it back down. Flatten the spine, back out on your mat. Reach for your heels again. Make sure your feet haven't moved or shifted. And then on your next breath in, we're going to lift the hips up, come into a bridge. Feel the glutes start to engage. You want to roll the shoulders underneath you. Clasp your hands together, and one more time, pressure through the elbows instead of through the neck, the head. Focus on containing the knees. Everything's going in instead of out. We'll take one more breath here. And then you can release your hands, slowly start to roll the spine all the way back down. Let's leave the left foot on the mat, flex the right foot, bring it up and cross it over that left knee. So we're coming into figure four. So this is how the legs look, and then you want to pick up the legs, loop the right arm through, grab onto the left shin, and then pull towards you. You can also focus on the right knee moving away from you a little bit, but you don't want to bring the right hand to the knee and force it there. You just want your body to go as far as it's naturally able to go. So we'll be here for a few breaths. This is quite a big stretch in the glute. It takes a little bit of time for things to start to relax and as we get into our connective tissue. Let's take one more breath. And then you can start to untangle the legs. Take that right foot all the way up into the air. You can extend the left leg out long. Grab onto the right hamstring and just pull that leg towards you really gently, as much as feels good in your body right now. And then release, start to bring that right knee back into the chest. Pick the left one up, squeeze them both in. Take the feet back down to your mat. We're gonna come into another bridge, so reach your fingertips towards your heels. Make sure your feet are in a good position. And then on your next inhale, lift the hips all the way up. Roll the shoulders under. Clasp the hands, pressure through the elbows and the feet. Focusing on containment. One more breath. And then release everything back down. Let's leave the right foot on the mat, flex the left foot, cross it over that right knee, and then pick up the legs coming into our figure four on the other side. Focus here on sending your breath into the areas that are feeling sensation or tension. Let's take 2 more breaths here in this figure four. And then you can start to release that left foot, take it all the way up into the air, extend the right leg, grab onto that hamstring and just pull towards you. As little or as much as you want. The whole point of yoga is to listen to your own body. So if I'm ever guiding you or leading you to a place that you don't want to go, just pick a different pose, pick something that feels better for you. One more breath. And then start to bring that knee back into the chest, followed by the right, squeeze them in. We're gonna grab underneath the knees and just start to rock up and down on the spine. We're gonna do this 3 or 4 times until you feel like you wanna cross your ankles and roll up into a tabletop position. So anytime now, roll up over the ankles, head into your tabletop. From here, we're going to tuck the toes under, push back through the hands, create some pressure and a big stretch in the feet. Super important for runners to get some foot stretching in. You want to make sure that your toes are able to spread, that you have enough toe and foot dexterity. Shift forward, pick up the feet, roll the ankles out. From here, just push up off the hands, come into a tall kneeling position. We're going to bring the hands as if we were putting them into our back pockets and just focus on pressing the elbows back behind you. Let your body kind of head into this gentle back bend. You can look up if that feels good in your neck. One breath here. And then start to make your way back to a neutral spine. We're going to take the right leg, just step this foot forward so we're in a half kneeling stance. From here, bring your hands to the right knee. Push the spine out behind you, round out the back, and tuck the tailbone under. So this is going to be a big stretch in the left psoas, the front of the left hip. And so you can hold here, focusing on sending your breath to that space. Or if you're not getting much sensation here, you can lean all the way forward into that left hip as well. Whatever feels better in your body. Take one more breath. And we can bring the hands down to frame that foot. We're just going to rock back and forth a few times before we move on to the other side. The next time you rock back, take that right knee beside the left, come back up into your tall kneeling, left foot steps out and forward. Same thing on this side, so you can try this version first. Bring the hands to the knee, round out the back into your cat spine, tuck the tailbone under, see if that gives you a big stretch in that front of the right hip. And if this isn't doing much for you, just lean all the way forward and get into your hip this way. One more breath. And then bring the hands down, just rock back and forth a few times. Next time you rock back, take that left knee beside the right. We're back in our tabletop. From here, we're just going to tuck the toes under, lift into a plank. So you might shuffle your feet back a little bit. You want hands to be under your shoulders. Holding here in our plank. We're going to bring the feet a little bit closer together. We're coming into a side plank on either side. So if you want to do this from the elbows, you can definitely do that as well. From here, you either want to stack the feet moving over onto the left side. So this could be one version of your side plank. The feet are stacked, we're onto the left hand. Or if you want more of a stretch in the right glute, the piriformis deep into that glute on that side, you can take the right foot up as high as it can go towards the top of the mat and then push your hips up towards the ceiling. This will give you an even deeper stretch into that glute and the piriformis than your figure four even. So this might be where you want to stay. If you want a little bit more focus on core stability and strength, you can leave your feet stacked up. Wherever you are, we'll start to rock back into our plank. Let's bring the knees down, shift the hips all the way back, come into a child's pose before we head on to the other side. Bring the forehead down, reach the fingertips forward, stretch out through the back. And then relax, make it not so active. You can bring your arms down by your sides to release any tension in the neck. Two more breaths. You start to bring your hands forward again. Lift back up into your plank. We're going to move on to the other side. So bring the right hand closer into the center, the feet closer together. Shift over into either your regular side plank, if you want some core stabilization, or you can bring this left foot up as close as you can towards the top of the mat. Shift the hips up into the air. Wherever you are, we'll take two more breaths. Then you can start to bring the hands down. And this time we'll just shift the hips all the way up into the air for your downward dog. Pedal out the feet, stretch out the calves. The calves are one of the tightest parts of the body if you've been running a lot. So this might be a pose that requires quite a bit of movement for the first little while as your calves start to feel a little better. Once you feel like you can come to some stillness, let's take a big breath. We're going to walk the hands all the way back to the feet at the back of the mat, fold forward. On your next breath in, roll the spine all the way up to stand. And we're gonna come into a deeper calf stretch. So if you have a wall or a countertop or something near you, this is an oldie but a goodie in terms of stretching. So let's bring our right foot forward, the left foot just back behind us, and then lean all the way forward into the wall. So you're gonna get a really big stretch in the left calf if you can keep your heel on the ground. So wherever you need to go for your heel to go as close to the ground as you possibly can, and then just lean all the way forward. Big stretch in that calf. Take a couple breaths here. And then whenever you feel ready, we can start to switch sides. If that's feeling really good for you, you can stay there for longer. Otherwise, start to bring your left foot forward, the right foot back, lean forward, and get that big same stretch in the right calf. This is also working on some ankle mobility. Stretching that knee out over the toe. One more breath. And then make your way back up to standing. Back to the back of your mat. And you can just shake it out a bit. Shake the legs out. Maybe shake your upper body out. And then when you're ready, we're going to come to standing, and on your next inhale, bring the arms up overhead, look up. And exhale, fold all the way forward again. Inhale, bring the hands to your shins, cup halfway, make a straight spine. And on the exhale, walk the hands all the way forward until we're back in our downward dog. You can start to bring the feet a little bit closer together. We're going to lift the right leg, all the way up behind us. Open up that hip to the sidewall. So bend the knee, equal pressure in your hands, and then start to make big circles with that knee. Let's go 2 times in one direction and then switch, go 2 in the other. So we're getting into that hip a little bit more. And then shift all the way forward, bring the right knee just behind the right hand. So we're coming into pigeon. Your leg can be out at a 45, that's totally fine. If you want to bring it closer to parallel, that's okay too. Just make sure it feels good for you. We're going to be here for a few breaths, so make sure that you're comfortable. So this can be your pose. If you want to be up like this, the left leg is just straight up behind you. Or you can come down to your elbows for sleeping pigeon. If you want this to be a little bit more restorative, either way, you're getting a big stretch, hopefully in your body, in this right glute and the left hip. So if you're coming down into sleeping pigeon, you can stack your hands one on top of the other and bring your forehead down onto them. Or a pillow or a bolster or anything you might have near. So you can stay here in your sleeping pigeon if this is feeling really good, or we can bring a quad stretch into it if this is a direction that you want to go. So we'll come up onto our hands, leave your right hand down, start to bend the left knee, reach back with your left hand and grab onto that foot. And then you just pull that foot towards you until you get as much of a stretch in your quad as feels good for you today. This is another area, if you've been doing some running that will get particularly tight. So this might be a sensitive pose for you, or a lot of sensation here. So just back off if it's starting to feel like too much, but typically if you stay in poses like this for 30 seconds to 2 minutes, anywhere in that range, things really start to loosen and soften, and the same pose that you were in the minute prior doesn't feel so bad. Just take one more breath. And then you can start to release that foot, take it all the way back behind you. Take your hands out wide, tuck the back toes and lift that back knee up, and then just shift all the way back into your downward dog. Pedal of the feet, notice the difference that you feel between the right side and the left. And then take a breath. Start to bring the feet a little bit closer together. Lift that left foot all the way up into the air behind you, and then bend the knee, open the hip to the side wall. Let's do our knee circles. So 2 times in one direction, 2 times in the other, trying to keep equal pressure in your hands. And then shift forward, bring the left knee just behind the left wrist. Wherever your leg ends up, that's great. And then ensure that that right leg is straight out behind you. You can stay up on your hands or come down for your sleeping pigeon. Stack your fists on top of one another, bring your forehead down. And you can stay in your sleeping pigeon if that's feeling really good. Or start to come up onto your hands, leave the left hand down. We're coming into this quad stretch. So bend the right knee, grab onto the right foot and pull towards you. Focus on your breathing. Notice where your mind has wandered to. Take a few more breaths here. When you're ready, you can start to release that foot back down behind you. Tuck the toes under. Pick up the back knee, bring your hands wide. Shift back into your downward dog. Pedal out the feet. This time we're going to start to walk the feet up towards the hands. Fold forward over your legs. And then on your inhale, roll the spine up to stand. Big exhale when you get to the top. Let's shake out the legs here one more time. Maybe rock the body around, see what feels good for you. And then we're going to end today with our legs up the wall. So find yourself a wall somewhere around you. That's all you need. And you're going to take your legs straight up, which is really great for the lymphatic system, which is our waste management system. Essentially, it's where your lymph system doesn't get rid of some of that cellular waste, especially that's produced when you're exercising or when you're running. So having our legs up in the air helps to reduce swelling, helps to get some of that drainage going. This is really one of my favorite places to end. If you want to end in Shavasana, by all means, you can come down to your back on the mat. Otherwise, I'm going to leave you here with your legs up the wall. That's where we're going to end class today. And I encourage you to stay there for 5 minutes if you can. Your feet might start to get a little bit numb, but that feeling will come back, I assure you. But staying up there for 5 minutes this is technically an inversion because your legs are above your heart. And any sort of inversion is really great for hormonal balance, great for sleep. so many benefits to things like this. So stay there for 5 minutes if you can. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Let me know if you have any other requests for types of classes. And this is a routine that you can do consistently after your runs if you're feeling particularly tight. So namaste, and I hope to see you again soon. Tell your family and your friends to come and check out a class. Have a great one.